I said to myself, I am thoroughly happy and content now. If my most pitiless enemy were to appear before me, I would freely right any wrong I may have done him. Straight away, the door opened, and a shriveled, shabby dwarf entered the room. He was no more than 2 feet high. He appeared to be 40 years of age, and yet this vile bit of human rubbish appeared to bear a sort of resemblance to me. He was a caricature of me in little. The pygmy contemplated me for a while and then said in a peculiarly leering way, "You turned a tramp away from your door this morning." Suppose I did turn a tramp away. What of it? "Oh, nothing. Only that you lied to him." "I didn't." "That is, yes, but you did. You lied to him." "This is a baseless impertinence." I said to the tramp, "There, you were about to lie again. I know what you said to him. You said that the cook was gone down to the town, and that there was nothing left from breakfast. 2 lies!" The astounding accuracy of this statement both silenced me and filled me with wonder and speculations as to how this cub could have gotten this information. "Stop a moment. Do you mean to tell me that you have nothing better to do than to prowl around prying into other people's business?" "The main thing is you did that contemptible thing, and you felt ashamed of it afterwards. You feel ashamed of it now." "Stop a moment. Who are you?" "Well, would you really like to know?" "Indeed I would." "Well, who do you think?" "I think you are the devil. I think you are Satan himself." "No." "No, then who can you be?" "Well, I am your conscience." In Mark Twain's short story, The Facts Concerning the Recent Carnival of Crime in Connecticut, he addresses the importance of listening to your conscience and the consequences when one does not. I sprang at the creature, roaring, "Curse you, devil! I wished you were tangible from the moment I saw you. Oh, but I will wreak my deadly vengeance on—" He darted aloft so suddenly that in the moment my hands clenched the empty air, he was already perched upon the hindmost bookcase. In a blind rage, I flew from place to place, snatching and hurling any missile that came to my hand. The storm of inkstands, books, and chunks of coal gloomed the air, but all to no purpose. The nimble figure dodged every shot. And not only that, but burst into a cackle of triumphant and sarcastic laughter as I sat down, exhausted, while I gasped with fatigue and excitement. My conscience talked to this effect. Oh, my good slave, you are curiously witless. No, I mean characteristically so. Otherwise, it would have occurred to you that if you attempted this murder with a sad heart and a heavy conscience, that I could not bear the burdening influence. Fool, I should have weighed a ton and could not have budged from the floor. But you are so cheerfully anxious to kill me that your conscience is as light as a feather. There was a eager footstep at the door. I opened it to see who it was, and my Aunt Mary burst into the room. It was a joyful meeting. full of wondering questions. By and by, my aunt said, "But I am going to abuse you a little now. You said to me last we spoke that you would take care of the poor family around the corner as faithfully as I had done myself. Well, I found out by accident that you failed of your promise. Was that right?" In simple truth, I had never thought of that family a second time. Now such a guilty pain shot through me. I glanced over my conscience, and plainly, my grief was affecting him. He began to droop forward. My aunt continued, "And think of my poor protege, whom you have neglected, you hard-hearted promise breaker." My conscience began to sway heavily back and forth. And when my aunt said, "Since you never bothered to visit her, perhaps it will not grieve you to know that my poor child died months ago, utterly friendless and forsaken," that did it. My conscience could no longer bear under the weight of his sufferings, but tumbled headlong from his high perch and hit the floor with a dull, leaden thump. In an instant, I sprang to the door, locked it, shut it, put my back to it. Already my fingers were working with their murderous intent. "Oh, what can the matter be? Why do you work your fingers thus? What can it be?" "Peace, woman," I said in a hoarse whisper. "Pay no mind to me." "Oh, stop this. Your reason is abandoning you. Look at me, I beg you, I implore you, I beseech you. Look, I beg you on my very knees." As my aunt begged me on her knees, my conscience began to get up a little, and then he languished into the floor. In an instant, I sprang past my aunt and had my lifelong foe by the throat. After so many years of waiting and longing, at last he was mine. I tore the creature to bits. I rent the bits to fragments. I cast the bleeding rubbish into the fire and inhaled into my nostrils the grateful incense of my burnt offering. At last and forever, my conscience was dead. I was a free man. I turned upon my poor aunt, who was petrified with terror, and shouted, "You hold before you a man whose life conflict is done. A man dead to grief, dead to sorrow, dead to pity, dead to remorse, a man without a conscience. Since that day, my life has been all bliss, bliss, unalloyed bliss. Nothing in the world that could persuade me to have a conscience again. I settled all my old disputes and began the world anew. I killed 38 persons in the first 2 weeks, all of them on account of old grudges. I swindled a widow and an orphan out of their last cow, and I burned a dwelling that interrupted my view. I've committed scores of crimes, and I have enjoyed my work exceedingly, whereas it formerly would have broken my heart and turned my hair gray. I have no doubt. In conclusion, I wish to state by way of advertisement that medical colleges, whether they be desiring bodies by the gross, by the ton, or per cord measurement, will do well to examine the lot in my cellar, as these were all hand-picked and prepared by myself and can be had at a low rate because I wish to clear out my stock and get ready for the spring trade." Mark Twain leaves the reader aghast. Aghast, but not surprised, for we are cautioned by Scripture. Titus 1:15 states, "To the pure, all things are pure, but to the defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. Both their minds and their consciences are defiled." Recognizing that God has given us free will, Mark Twain adroitly broadcasts a warning to all. With the killing of the conscience, what is there to check mankind's behavior?